Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Too Many Hobbies Podcast. I am your host, Brian Althorpe. This is our mid-season solo podcast. No guests today, but just to catch you guys up on what's been going on through the season. We've had a lot of good guests this season. It's been pretty awesome to have them on. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these episodes. If you guys are, please be sure to let me know. So let me know if there's anybody that you would like me to have on. There's kind of a theme with this podcast, and that's having kind of local people as well as some of my friends in the waterfowl industry. And it's been really awesome to have them on. We had Luke on. That was such an awesome episode for me because we got to talk about cameras and kind of his background in the industry. Luke and I met at Game Fair this year, and we've been talking for years, just through forums and stuff or online Facebook group. We kind of met and, been talking about that kind of stuff and cameras, filming, the whole nine. So it's been really cool to become friends with Luke and meet him in person. It's kind of a cool industry where it's like you can meet people from all over the country, know them, and then you meet them and it's like you've been friends for years. So it's cool to have Luke on. We've had Ken and Brian and Zach on. That was awesome. And, just looking forward to the future guests that we're going to have. Been talking to Luke Costello, and he's going to be coming on talking about, his decoy carving. He has a private marsh that he wants to talk about. And then there's going to be some other guests that I'm lining up. Hopefully everything works out and you guys get some awesome episodes out of it. Kind of the season update. So the last time that we spoke was before the season started. We had a pretty good early season. If you guys have watched the videos, you've seen most of the hunts. There are a couple hunts in there that I'll talk about that haven't been aired yet because I'm looking at how I want to structure the video to show that footage. I don't like wasting footage. As you guys have seen, I like to make compilations even if I just shoot a bird on a hunt and put those hunts together. Some of these hunts just don't have enough footage to make a full episode, and I don't like to put out just like a 5-minute video if I can avoid it, unless it's like a gear review or something like that. So trying to get, these 8 to 12 minute videos takes a lot of footage. That's why I use a lot of cameras to make sure that I can show different angles and things like that and make them interesting for you guys to watch. I don't like putting out half-assed content if I can avoid it. Sometimes I do just to get it out, but I really try to focus on making these videos worthwhile for you guys to watch, and hopefully you guys feel that way when you watch them. So our opening weekend, we had dove. Our goose season didn't open until after Labor Day this year, so we went and shot some doves. Had a good time out at Brian's Quarry. There's been a previous video of that place. We had a pretty good hunt there a couple of years ago, and this year I didn't have enough footage to make a full video, so that'll be in a different video. But so we did some dove hunting, getting ready for opener of goose. So we ended up hunting the goose pond that we have on opening day of the early season for geese, and we had this like 7-mile-an-hour northwest wind, and it was just enough to push some new birds in. And we had some migrators that at that pond we generally don't see during the hunt. So we had these birds, up in the clouds, and we were able to call them in, and they just, it was incredible. They just would come from the heavens straight into the decoys. The footage was insane. It was an awesome hunt. We ended up one short of a 3-man, and then we had to leave. Still an awesome day for 3 of us to shoot 14 birds, before 10 o'clock and then roll out of there. It was pretty awesome, and seeing all those migrators. Then we got into some teal. We ended up teal hunting at McGee Marsh. So we had 2 draws at McGee, or I had 2 draws at McGee. Actually, Luke Costello's dad had a draw that they gave me, and then Damien had a draw. So we ended up going and shooting 3 teal the first weekend. I went the second weekend by myself and didn't shoot anything. There's a lot of spoonies and some pintails flying around, so I didn't want to get caught up with a ticket. This was the last weekend, so there wasn't any geese that we could shoot last weekend of our early teal. So geese was out, and I wasn't able to shoot any. I had some flyover, but it was just nice to get out in the marsh. I had weddings to film those days, so it's just nice to get out in the morning, kind of relax, and then go into a full day of filming weddings. So it worked out pretty nicely. The teal that we shot on the second weekend will be in a video here shortly. And then we kind of moved into the Michigan early season. So as you guys have seen, I've been working with the boys from Great Lakes Outdoors. So Kyle and I have been kind of collaborating on a lot of content and trying to get them some footage that they need, get me on hunts. They have some really, really good fields, and they do a really good job scouting them and finding birds to get people on. So it was pretty awesome to hunt with them. We ended up hunting a tilled field, and the geese still did it right in this field. So I was able to film a YouTube video for that. And then, that kind of did it for the early season for me. Then we went into the opener, and that was kind of the big deal for us. Kyle got a hold of me, said that Mark 𝐦𝐨𝐵𝐿 from Migra Ammunitions, he's one of the owners, was coming up to hunt with them, and he wanted me to come film. And they were doing a podcast that Friday, and then I filmed that for them, did all the editing for it, and then the next day we went and hunted, and we had like 15 people in 4 A-frames. We went the night before and we're scouting, and there was a ton of birds in the field. I mean, hundreds, 300, 400, 500 birds sitting in this field. And it was a double crop, so they were eating the seed that was getting sown in after the beans had come off. And these birds just came by the string. I mean, we saw probably just shy of 1,000 birds that day. And they were finishing in a weird way that we couldn't get everybody to shoot. Our end of the blind got a lot of shooting, so the video turned out as good as it could have for me, because I was filming as well as shooting. I've been trying to incorporate a lot more of like the big camera filming in these videos, so you guys can see the birds as they're coming in. And I know that with these first person style shooting videos that like me and Matt and Thomas and Josh all do, it's tough for the viewer to see what's happening unless we're filming on a big camera with like birds flying around. So with geese, it's real easy for me because I can see them and they slowly come into the spread, whereas like ducks, it's tough. So I try to use more camera angles on ducks so that I can see what's happening right before the shot, see the shot cam with the close-up slow-mo. And I hope that that's enough body for a video that you guys enjoy. But that's basically what I did for the video with Mark and Migra Ammunitions. So Mark hooked us all up with shells, hats, and it was really cool for him to just come hunt. And he ran his dog, Yatsman or Vatsman, and I got a bunch of pictures and stuff for them. I ended up making a reel for him. I don't know when it's going to post on their social media, but he called me afterwards and was really impressed by the pictures that I took and sent over to him, and asked if he knew I was filming and asked if I'd make a reel for him. So I did. I think the reel turned out awesome, even though I wasn't filming for it. I was filming for the YouTube video, and then also to just get Kyle some content for the news on Instagram. And I was able to crop it, make it look nice, and add some music to it. So hopefully they use that. If they don't, not really a big deal. They've asked me to come film with them on the road. I know that they were in talks with them last time I talked with Mark. He was talking with 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐿 to try and get something lined up there. I don't know if it'll happen. Kind of thought the same thing with the gun dog filming. That never really panned out, but not to say that it won't at some point. It just didn't when we were talking about it, and I was anticipating going in October. It's now the middle of November, so we're going to get into RNT filming here next week, actually. So I'll be caught up with that, and then possibly some stuff for Matt Hicks from Last Flight Calls, and try and get some stuff for him too. He's not too far south of me, so it's going to make sense for us to get together and film some stuff for him. But aside from the filming stuff, we've been hunting. We did that opening day goose hunt. I think we shot 45 birds, so 9-man limit out of 15. And then we ended up starting to do some duck hunting. Tried to get in some divers with Zach George from Fish and Fowl that you guys heard on the podcast. We did a kind of a shakedown trip with him, and there's a bunch of divers in the area. They just were too piled up in one raft. There's about 10,000 in a raft that we couldn't get the break off. So I was able to shoot my first bluebill out of the layout boat for this season, which was nice. And yeah, I mean, we had some opportunities, probably could have capitalized, but you just never know with these early birds what they're going to do. If they're going to work the spread, if they're just going to swing by you and keep going. So it's kind of what we fell into. And the one chance that I had to just get up and shoot, I got one bird, which is the limit for our first split, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so that was fun to get out with Zach. See his new layout boat. He's got a new layout Addictions 2-man, and he's got a pretty awesome setup there. So if you guys haven't listened to that episode, go listen to it. Book a hunt with Zach if you guys are looking to come up here and try and layout shoot some divers. It's a really awesome time. If you guys have seen all the videos that I do, I focus on divers. I think it's an awesome thing that we've got up here, that it's a huge resource when the birds are here, and it's just really cool to see if you have never seen it before. So be sure to do that. Ended up getting into a wood duck hunt. I have a spot on a river around me that I know holds wood ducks, and so me and Boomer went out during the week, and we were able to shoot our 3 wood ducks, which was awesome. It was funny because it was so dark when the first bird worked in. I thought it was a hen, and then I got it back, and I'm kind of looking at it. The bill wasn't right, the eye wasn't right, and I'm like, oh, this is actually just an immature drake. So I ended up shooting a drake wood duck off right after first light, and then as I was coming back, I was setting down the bird, getting Boomer to sit. It rained so hard that morning that I had brought my kayak. I was planning on hunting out of the kayak blind and then have him behind me, and 𝐤𝐤𝐬 had sent me a new dog blind to make a video on, so I was going to have him in that. I brushed it in. I was going to get some footage of that, and it started raining so hard that we went up in these trees just to get out of the rain, and it didn't stop raining until about a couple minutes after shooting time. So we sat up there, and he wasn't in his blind or nothing, and we don't generally hunt that way. I generally have him on some sort of place, so whether it's a stand, whether it's a mat of some sort, like somewhere that he can see visually and he knows that that's where he has to stay. And so I just had him sit next to me, and so I set him down, got him to sit, and as soon as I get him to sit, I hear a wood duck come in, and it lands right in the decoys, and I'm like, man, I haven't even sat down yet. I literally set the bird down, set him down, and yeah, I got a second one. He kind of got wounded and went into these some little brush there, and so we were out there looking for it, and I kick it up, shoot it, bring it back, and then we had a little lull for about 40 minutes, and then I'm sitting there, and 3 woodies come in, and there's 2 drakes kind of in the front of the pack and a hen. I was trying to pick out a drake just to finish off the video because I had already said that I'd shot 2 hens. Hadn't really gotten back to the fact that I shot an immature drake and a hen. So wanted to pick out a drake. They're kind of balled up, and so as soon as they split, I shot and ended up getting a drake, a really nice one. And I kicked myself so hard because Boomer went out, was getting this perfect retrieve, and I didn't grab my camera, and he was holding it perfectly. I would have had such an awesome picture, and I kind of goofed up, but it was kind of a quick, like, as soon as I shot it, I didn't want it to get lost in those weeds again. He had a mark on it. He went, and then I had to like slide down this bank. I was up on this island, and the bank was almost as tall as me. So it was like I wanted to get down and get at least some video of it, and I just completely forgot to grab my camera. So I got a really nice clip of him coming in holding this wood duck perfectly, but it's just the photographer and me. I kicked myself because it was such a perfect photo if I would have had my camera. But just the fact that we shot our 3 wood ducks in Ohio, the limit's 3, so shot our 3 wood ducks, got out of there. I think it was like just after 9, and it's just awesome to have those hunts where you just have a feeling that you're going to be able to get these birds, and they do it so perfectly. The water was really low, so there was a couple spots where I had to drag the kayak, and but it's fine. I mean, it's the low water. Woodies don't seem to mind that, so it was awesome. I might hit that spot again just to see if anything's still sticking around. It's been so warm, I can't imagine that a bunch of birds have moved out of it, and I don't think it gets pressured too hard. So hopefully that's the case, but I might go check that out again. So that kind of ended our first split. I ended up going up to St. Clair with Brian. We've talked about it on his podcast this season, that he had a group of people going up to St. Clair. Sean and I were supposed to go up and film. He got pulled into a promotional trip that he had to go on for the TV show, so he wasn't able to go. I was still able to go for a day, so I hunted an evening and a morning with Brian. I think we shot 5 or 6 birds. That'll be in a video that's coming up. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm kind of take a little different spin on it, but that might come out this week. Regardless, it's cool to go up and hunt St. Clair. I hadn't been there in I think 7 years. And it was funny, the spot that we found as we were like driving around and we decided to hunt that evening is the exact same spot that we found the last time that we were up there. And so we hunted that, and it's still kind of the same. The vegetation's a lot higher than it was when we were there. So it's easier to hide, but the birds just weren't really there. I mean, we didn't see a whole lot flying. We didn't see a lot when we were driving around. We drove around for over an hour in the boat, and we only saw maybe a couple dozen birds. And it was just warm. It was very warm. It was a little chilly Saturday morning, and we were hoping that would help, but the birds just seemed pressured. They didn't really work us. They just swam around a lot and hid in the cattails, so it wasn't as fruitful as we had hoped for, but obviously it's just cool to go to new places and hunt and see how things have changed from the last time you were there. And so that was really cool. Michigan's season doesn't go out. They do a full 58-day and then a 2-day bonus weekend to finish off their 60 days. So in our split, which was 2 weeks this year, we were able to hunt Michigan. So I went back up, hunted with Kyle. We hunted a permanent blind, which that video is out as well. Got some really good footage. There's probably just as many birds as we saw opening day in a different field, and it was just they were coming from a roost not too far away and just setting right down in this field. And I think we ended up shooting 25 birds, but there's 2 bands in that, which was really cool. I'm just not good luck with bands, so I never shoot them, but it was cool to see them. Like it's always awesome when you get on these hunts that people shoot bands, and I didn't even see what the information was. I still need to ask Kyle about that, what the tracking information was. So we ended up hunting that, and then the following weekend I went to our annual trip up to Houghton Lake, which was last weekend, and we were able to hunt out of the kayaks the first morning, just the way that the wind was. We didn't want to mess with the layouts, and we took all 3 Bass Pro H12 kayaks that we have with blinds on them. So we found a part of the lake that the wind was going to be behind us and be calm enough that we could drag these kayaks out, but it was all wading depth anyway. We pulled them out, we put them on a sandbar, set out 2 long lines, some singles on either side, and we had a pair of GoldenEyes come in. We shot the Drake, and if you guys watched the video, Jeff kind of messed with us a little bit. He went out and got it, acted like he couldn't find it, and then ended up being an absolute stud GoldenEye. It was just a perfect Drake GoldenEye. I'm going to have somebody mount it, and we're going to put it up at the cabin, and that'll be pretty cool. Then we went out the next day. I brought the 2-man Kalash that I did the restoration on. That boat is just it's so heavy, but it's absolutely bulletproof. I mean, I ended up fiberglassing the seams on the edges. There was already what seemed to be a little bit of fiberglass on the edges, but I just wanted to redo it and make sure everything was good, because that's going to be the part of the boat that either gets hit the most from the tender or just it's underwater the most. So I really wanted to seal it up, and so I sanded everything. I redid the nose of it because it was there's a spot in it that was kind of rotted out. So I kind of dug it out, filled it with epoxy or fiberglass resin just to make it absolutely bulletproof. Did the edges with some fiberglass, repainted the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, this thing has to weigh 250 pounds. I put new handles on it. I don't know how anybody moved this thing without handles on it before. I mean, it is so heavy. The guy I bought it from said that they used to load it on the front of a 19-foot Starcraft, like a 70s Starcraft. I have absolutely no idea how somebody can get this thing up. It had no handles on it, nothing. So who knows? But the boat towed perfectly. I have kind of a ski rope attachment that goes onto the boat with anchor line that runs back probably 30 foot. But that boat's so heavy, it had its own wake too. I mean, it is heavy, but so we were able to run 2 guys in there. It's tight. It's an older boat, so obviously they made them smaller for smaller people. People aren't as small these days, but when you're sitting in it, you're shoulder to shoulder. But once you sit up, you've got plenty of room to swing and shoot. So it's going to be an awesome tool. I'm putting the finishing touches on the trailer. I just need to put new lights on it, and then it'll be ready to roll. But it'll be so nice to be able to go to the boat ramp. It's light. It's not as heavy. It doesn't feel as heavy when you're getting it off the trailer and like putting it in the water. So it'll be easy to get it in the water, get it back on the trailer. It'll be easy to tow it. The new anchor system that I have for it is awesome. It's going to be nice to be able to take 2 people, put 2 people on a boat and not worry about like the 2 boats swinging or worrying about all the anchors for 2 boats or bringing 2 tenders to bring 2 layout boats out. It's not the end of the world, and I'll still be able to do it with my UFO, but just the days that it's like, oh, we just want to take 3 people out, or if we want to take 4 and only take 1 boat and not have to worry about 2 tenders or whatever, it'll just be nice. So we had that boat up there. Jeff and I had 3 bluegills come in about 15 minutes after we got in. We dropped all 3 of them. It was an awesome way to break in the restored 𝐥𝐤𝐬. I keep saying it wrong. People keep correcting me, but the 𝐥𝐤𝐬 is awesome to break it in that way. Damien and his dad ended up getting in, switching me and Jeff. They shot 2. As we were pulling up, one of them got up and flew away. But the birds up there just wasn't like a huge raft like we usually see up there. So we didn't see a ton of birds, but the birds that came close enough worked. It was just trying to figure out what their pattern was. Generally, if you see the raft out there, you can go and set up somewhere near it or set up where you see them kind of trading back and forth between wherever they're feeding and where they're rafted, or if they're feeding where they're rafted, where they're kind of loafing. You can kind of start to pattern them a little bit and see what their flight line is. And then you can kind of set up there, throw 100 decoys, run traffic, and everything's good. But we didn't really have that. It was just birds were kind of everywhere. There was really nothing for puddle ducks. There was some ducks that were like sitting up on shore in somebody's backyard that they're obviously feeding. But otherwise, it was like we went to a dam there. We didn't have any luck. We saw, I think it was 2 ringnecks that swung by us, but like there was a ton of geese. They didn't want anything to do with us. And that place was just a nightmare to try and paddle through because for whatever reason, whoever decided to clear that area to make it a dam, they cut the trees just below the water line. So you can't see the stumps, but as you're going, your kayak gets hung up on them or you run into them, and it's just like, it's terrifying. Like that was the first time. I know I should be wearing a PFD when I'm using the kayak, but that was the first time I put it on. And I was like, I'm actually probably going to fall out of this. It was insane. So it is what it is. But yeah, that was a good trip to go up and kind of break in the 𝐥𝐤𝐬, go up and just hang out. Sunday we got rained out, so I ended up just coming home, but it's all right. So that's kind of the mid-season update. Going forward, we've got hopefully some weather coming in, and we're going to be running some shore hunts, more layout hunts, if it gets to the point this year where the shore just isn't cutting it, we're just layout hunting. We're done trying to go out and shoot one bird, hoping that's going to be any different. We're going to just layout hunt, try and get on these birds. With everybody having kids, it's just tough to go out there and get your ass kicked every time. It's just go out, hit the layout boats, have a better opportunity at them. As much as we love watching the dogs, it's just, we just need to get, if it's tough, we just need to make the adjustment. So we got that coming up. And then I'll be filming next week here with Sean, trying to do some Lake Erie stuff. Then we run to Kansas the week after, and we're going to be filming down there. And then I think we're going to end up either in Canada or back down south at the end of December, right before Christmas. So we got some cool stuff coming up. Hopefully I'll be able to share a lot of that stuff with you guys. And yeah, mid-season update podcast. If there's anything that you guys want me to cover in other podcasts, please let me know, or any new videos that you'd like me to make. I'm all up for ideas. I've been trying to put out a little bit more this season just because I have some extra time and I've got some extra footage. So been doing that, and we'll see if it picks up here and I can get out some more videos every week, or if it slows down, then I might just go back to one and just make compilations. But we'll see. Hoping we can get some good stuff for you guys. But if you guys have suggestions, please let me know. And if you guys are watching the videos, please be sure to like them, comment on them. The engagement really helps try and push the videos out to new people, or to more people that are watching. It doesn't show up in their recommended pages. So that helps me out a ton. There is merch on the page. So if you guys are looking for t-shirts, sweatshirts, there's a tumbler on there for coffee. And it's pretty cool stuff. So it helped me. It helps you guys, or helps me get you guys more stuff. If you guys want stuff, it's on there. No, I don't really ever push it, but yeah, it's there for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy everything. Give me your feedback, but otherwise, we'll catch you guys in the next podcast.